My apartment complex smells like dick. I'm calling...
Is that what death smells like?
Does death smell like dick? I don't know.
I don't know.
Or does dick smell like death?
I don't know, but now I really want to go on like a live Q&A with a porn star that's online right now and just type that question in. And a lot of people just don't watch it at all.
Yes,
like,
and there's a great cross section of people out there that don't watch it at all.
But those guys are dicks. I don't even know.
But a quick shout out to Brett and Jen.
Right.
You were buying furniture from me at the store that I work at, and we got to talking about making, and you recognized Round Table Props. You recognized him. He wasn't even in the store. And the way you described our podcast is great. You said, "You mean that podcast with the bald English guy?"
Yes.
Yeah. and the girl that found porn that one time? Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
That one. Yes. That podcast. This podcast is about making, but it's also about not making any sense.
It's also about all the stuff we do when we're slacking and not making. Like that's
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
And it's all one huge collaborative.
Mm-hmm.
It's a you can't have one without the other. I can totally tell though that whole shit about like geniuses or like, you know, people who are rich, like they have to like people who are successful, like happy and smart, or like happy and rich. Other people who keep themselves busy with jobs, like they still work. Because with my new job transition, just instantly more motivated to do stuff. Just happens instead of you're like, oh, I'll wait till my day off, and then days off are these things you look forward to, but nothing happens on a day off.
No, days off or...
No, I mean, like I do my best shit where I'm like, oh, I'll do this tomorrow, but I get too excited, so when I come home from work, I'm just like, I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah.
And you get more shit done. You're just more in the zone.
I suppose. That's a great way to put it. We are striving forward on a project. Well, Warren, I'll rephrase that. Warren is striving forward on a project that we are collaborating upon.
Yeah, I'm only able to. I mean, not really going ahead. I've cut 3 pieces of wood in half, but like if we're gonna measure productivity here,
Yeah.
I have cut more pieces of wood in half than you in the past couple of days, and that's really it. That's all that's happened. But yeah, no, we did a lot of the groundwork, like the brain stuff.
Yeah.
Like we
apologize that we don't have anyone that films this for us. Like the minute build stuff, the beer thought stuff. The bean booth, all the funny things that you see, some of the build things that you see, all the footage that's on Instagram and soon Facebook if we can manage that. I don't know if we're gonna go that route as far as social media goes.
Yeah.
But all that stuff that's all in-house. Either us setting the camera up here or one of us having a camera or taking a picture or something like that. I guess we could share this to social media sites that we are looking for someone to do this. Looking for someone to film. And not be at our beck and call or anything, but having someone who is interested in doing doing some kind of film. Can't promise that you make anything, but you can definitely use all the footage that you crank out for whatever purposes that you would want, as long as we get to use the footage.
I mean, look what happened last time. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing and you're a cool person, there's always the chance that we do something that crosses over into that world.
Exactly.
We've kind of done that before.
We tried to do that before.
Yeah, but like that could be cool. But yeah, mainly just I'll bet them cool.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So I guess we're not even anywhere near the functionality. I'm not even gonna say popularity because no one watches these, but hopefully we change that soon. But I'm just gonna say because it sounds cool. Like we're looking for the first round table intern.
Yeah.
the first person that wants to do something for free with other guys that do stuff for free too. Yeah. Or, you know, if you're a girl, it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. Yeah. We're both married, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's it. You watch me cut wood in half.
Yeah.
For a day.
Yeah.
Like, because that productivity at the minute, just because of, I guess, schedules and time of year isn't helping. Because all of our workspace is outdoor, so, you know, I don't really feel like being out there too long.
I feel like winter is going to be a great productive time. I'm going to have a lot of downtime here because Tiffany's impendingly pregnant. She's due at, literally could come at any moment.
Like now.
So, like right now. I could get a phone call and this podcast could be a documentary very quickly.
Yeah. That would be insane.
That would be nuts.
It's happening.
That would be insane.
Because then it'd be like the biggest project we ever done because Tiff and Jason made a baby.
Yeah. Like, you know, hey, Tiff's we fucking tricked all of you. You thought it was about us making stuff out of phone, but the whole time we've just been documenting. Yeah, we've just been documenting
the baby growing inside of Tiffany.
Yeah, every once in a while she comes around and you see more of a bump, and then all of a sudden, baby. That's my biggest project right now. Yeah. I can't wait to make stuff for him though, because I've made a few things for Noah, but I like when Halloween comes around again, dude. We already have an idea, and this is off topic. There's no topic whatsoever, but next year for Halloween we have this idea is that we're gonna go as a kangaroo family.
Nice.
But instead of, we're gonna have Tiff and I are gonna be the kangaroos, and they're gonna be our Joeys, but they're not gonna be baby kangaroos. They're gonna be tiny Joeys from Friends.
Nice.
So the slicked hair, the white t-shirts. We're gonna tell Noah just to go up to random girls at the party and be like, "How you doing?" So we're gonna let him do that. It's gonna be great. But we haven't seen each other in a while. Other than trying to get the skateboard thing, what's up?
I mean, that's been the only thing in my mind, really. Like,
really the only thing in my mind too.
Like, through the day, I'm just always thinking about it because I feel like the idea we have is so simple, and it keeps getting simpler. And so I keep thinking about it to make sure I'm not missing something. But I feel like research has been done. My so-called research is I've been going to the skate park this weekend. It's like
and just rolling around on a board.
But that helped though. I mean, I could just say it helped.
Yeah, well, I mean the infield research that comes from getting back into it. Because we touched the last podcast, which is weeks ago, unfortunately. Hopefully we can crank more of these out during the winter months and everything. You'll probably occasionally see another member of the podcast, and we won't be smoking or drinking.
No. Yeah.
But, you know, this is the second that little Alex gets here, that goes away.
Yeah.
That's why I've been buying the cheapest cigarettes possible, because I won't care if those go away. You know, I've distanced myself from Marlboro and all the stuff that I've spent the last decade smoking, so, or more than a decade smoking, so.
Good old cowboy killers.
Yeah, the good old, yeah, man. Yeah, dude. These are good though. They're only like $5.
Dude,
like $4.99 as opposed to $8 dollars.
Well, that's it. I've never been fussy with them, but like when I moved here my first year, I didn't roll my own because I didn't know where to get any of that shit. So I was smoking 100s.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I've smoked a fairly long time, but I've never smoked and hurt afterwards.
Yeah.
like you just hurt.
100%.
Like, I mean, I guess that's how you know they're good.
Maybe? I don't know.
Because, I mean, purpose-wise, they are, like, they kill you. like,
unfortunately, a product that kills
a little bit at a time.
4 out of 10.
I like to imagine it as, like, think of yourself as a tree, and each one of these is a swing. And it
each one of those
away.
is just a swing or a nail on a board or some kind of toxin or something. Yeah, it's all bad. So, you know, I've been wanting to quit for a long time. This is a great reason to quit. I should have quit a long time ago, but...
Dude, I heard in the news, I mean, I think it was like a month ago or something that the medicinal use of marijuana in like medicine, not like medicinal marijuana where you smoke it, but like the use of like oils and shit like that in, you know, hospitals and shit is. I guess that's it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but that's what they were saying. But somebody said that in most places where that happens, it's not very long afterwards that they just go ahead and just be like, just smoke it.
Just.
And if that happens, then I will find it very easy to quit. Because honestly, I smoke like a train. You probably see on the, but that's only because I'm just like trying to fight that urge to be like, and yeah, as soon as that's legal, but it's weird, right? Because it becomes legal, but if you're high at work or something, like it's still illegal, like.
Yeah.
Isn't it like, what's it, federal or something? Or like,
yeah,
the state law and federal law are like...
Yeah, well, especially in the United States, because we have a bunch of states that are still Commonwealth, like here in Pennsylvania. So even though federal law, state law can become federal law and then be accepted in all 50 states, this is still a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, so they would still have to pass legislation to make it legal here.
If I got caught, I'd go straight to the nearest church and see if that shit, like a Quasimodo, works.
Take sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Just keep shouting it. I mean, it will either work or it will be like the next most popular viral videos. Like, don't tase me, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Sanctuary.
There's a priest like, that's not, we don't do that here.
Stop touching the kids, Dave. Judging me. Oh my god.
Jesus.
Yeah. I told you this is what happens, man. Like, but no, back on something that's actually productive though.
Skateboards and
we are making, I don't know if we talked about this, we probably mentioned some sort
the
of
last
thing
podcast we did, the last podcast was actually the longest we've ever done, and it's because we went on for seemingly forever on different topics, which was great. But the first thing we did was extreme sports, growing up and riding bikes and skateboards.
Okay, so with this idea, it all started with, I think it all started with watching, we found Steve-O's YouTube channel, which is crazy that man is the healthiest motherfucker out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, he's, like, and I joked with you that he is like the real life Triple X. Like, if some government agency was like, we need a guy who can just do a bit of everything. He doesn't have to be the best at it. They can do it, and that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's what Vin Diesel's character looks like in real life.
Yeah. And he looks like Steve-O.
Because that guy's nuts. So we're watching that and watching some of those old 90s throwbacks. Of
like CKY and
all that, and it's very skateboard.
The Alien Workshop stuff.
And of course we talked uncountable times about how much we love Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And I found a YouTube channel called Resale Skateboarding, which is really, really cool. Actually pushed me to buy a skateboard because you check it out. I'm not going to explain it to you because that'd be really boring. But like, just check that out. It's a really cool channel. But they do a section called "You Make It, We Skate It," where makers, come up with crazy ideas, some crazier than others, of make a skateboard and send it to these guys. And they make a video of all of them skating it, doing a trick. And it depending on how the board performs, it develops either into them playing something as simple as like a game of skate, or to them doing, some guy made a carbon fiber board and they did a high ollie challenge with it. And that was pretty insane. And like, that thing was strong as shit. Like, they were, towards the end, they were trying to break it. Like, they were purposely trying. So from that, I was like, I like making things. We both have talked a lot of times about how we enjoy work, like woodwork, very, very good. So I was like, fuck it. So I came to Jason with this idea of how skateboards are made.
Yeah.
And if we could do it.
Which sent us down this rabbit hole of a day's worth of research on just the different making processes of skateboards.
And we discovered the amount of pressure used in a press to make a skateboard. What were we looking at?
When they vacuum seal something, It really depends upon the type of vacuum and the type of board. Like if you're talking long boards, like crazy speed boards that race professionally, it's something to the tune of like between 9 and 14,000 pounds.
Yeah.
But what we've come up with is that your standard skateboard that's put together by anybody in a vacuum chamber needs about 3,500 pounds of pressure to seal the board together, to squeeze out all of the excess adhesive, and to make the laminates of the ply one. So it's 3,500 pounds that we need. We then discovered that my Ford 500 weighs 3,680. So
yeah, I had this image one night when I was thinking about this of I was looking at the mold that we were to make, and I was like, well, the Back to the Future board is very easy. It's flat with a kicker. It's like very simple.
There's no bevel in it. There's no anything like that. It's a flat board.
And I was like, how would we do that? And I just had this image of just putting a ramp in front of it and just having Jason park his car on top of the mold, and we leave it there to set. And
yeah.
I was like, there's no, like, I blew my mind, and I was questioning it a lot. I was like, there's no reason that shouldn't work.
No, as long as we distribute the pressure evenly, there's no reason that it wouldn't work. And I also just got an idea for a slightly more elaborate rig.
Okay.
That, and this is good. What we do, and this is an elaborate rig. It's maybe something we could try later.
Okay.
But so the whole principle of this is the mold with perfect. So we have the mold, and we have the car drive up onto the mold and park, right like that.
Yep.
Which is great. We've come up with an idea to not make the pressure linear, to spread it out over the entire mold, and simply just by the construction of the mold, it having two sides that are like that, or even just one side, it focuses the pressure on the whole length of it instead of just down on one side.
Yeah.
However, we would have to build a separate ramp to bring the car up even, so the force down is the same. The weight lost between either side is negligible. The weight lost over the pivot point, since it's so low, we're going to be dealing with probably at the very least 3,300 to 3,400 pounds, which is still going to be sufficient.
Yeah.
However, I just popped in my head is if we made a rig that had a mold in the center, and then a platform, a platform would probably be the way to go. A platform that goes out to two sides that are exactly where the wheels go, and our mold is in the center, not over here.
Yes.
So the car drives up, and the force down presses the mold like that, and it holds it right there.
Yeah.
Also, instead of doing one board at a time, we could potentially do up to 4.
We could.
Because you could put 4 in there and drive the car up like that and have this big long mold that does that. And each one would be experiencing the same amount of downward force, because it's not like we're doing it out from a lever. We're doing it across a line, linear in line with the pressure.
Yeah.
So if you have 1,000 pounds over this way, and you put 1,000 pounds down that way, each thing is having 1,000 pounds on it. There's not one point that's got a different amount of weight. So we could do that.
Yeah.
Eventually.
That's a great idea, because
we could even make the sides have mold, so we could do like 6 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing with the whole idea of this, is that we were avoiding construction of huge tools that like apartment living doesn't really abide as. I obviously know how people like make them. It's either vacuum form, which is the most like space efficient, I guess.
Yeah.
But still not cost effective for me, at least.
You could do it with. I've seen people do it with a shop vac.
Yeah.
but those aren't necessarily the most successful.
And what else would, like, if this gets going, then possibly that would be something we look into. But I don't know. We were trying to avoid any of these things, like, so even down to like a manual press where we literally just hook it up to fucking clamps and go to tighten it by hand. Even then, to have it evenly spread, we're looking at quite a contraption. And
yeah, especially because you'd have to.
I don't know if you've ever been shopping for clamps, but I recently did, and I didn't know that those things I was using in woodworking class were like $20 a pop.
Yeah,
like,
just for the wood clamps. And then with that, there's variables. It would have to be a one-post screw system, or it would have to be two, and then you'd have variances on pressure. And to get 3,500 pounds down on there, the rig itself would have to weigh a bit.
That's what one least cost-effective part of it, and skill also, is that the molds for those are usually made out of concrete.
Yeah.
And looking at, we're talking about working with wood, and we're talking about the complexity of adding
a small curve, a kit curve to it.
Yeah, like a concave into the board. And the problem with that is that with wood, I mean, we could just simply sand it.
Yeah.
And even that becomes complex if we're looking for symmetry. But if you're talking like cement,
molded cement, concrete, like those molds are very precise.
Then we're talking.
And we're also not talking general concrete. We're talking voidless, pure construction concrete, and high compression concrete too. Because we're not going to be reinforcing it in any way, because we're going to have to work with it.
And this is going to be messy. It's going to be a bitch to store. Like, it's going to be heavy as fuck.
Oh yeah,
right?
if we're talking a 18 inches wide, or even 10 inches wide to accommodate the board, and 3 feet long ish, between 28 and 32 inches, almost 3 feet long. A piece of concrete that weighs 60 or 70 pounds. You got two of those, you're almost 150 pounds. It's not effective to move around on your own, even with two people, especially storing that, getting it up and down stairs, putting it in, getting that into a mold and then having even pressure on it, because if it's not reinforced, it could crack.
And then
even though it's a massive thing of concrete, you still have tension over a lever, and if there's a void, an air void in the mold, and that all of a sudden pops forces uneven pressure, it could break it. With wood, you don't have to worry about that necessarily.
Yeah, and here's where it is with me personally. I think for us, is how we go about our thing. Is me, just I guess from growing up that way, that I want to do everything spending the least money.
Yeah,
I can. No money is better.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if there's, you're a maker that, like us, that, we have jobs and everything that facilitate a little bit of it, but, this isn't...
That's for family and...
Yeah, we try to make our material costs... Our material costs far outweigh our labor costs. Our labor cost is nothing, because we do this on our downtime. We're not making any money doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
It'd be nice, but we understand that. So exactly, if you're an up and coming maker, don't spend crazy amounts of money. If it's a tool that you've used before and you use all the time, spend the money there.
Here's the thing as well, because I'm exactly like this, so I'm not putting anybody down here. But my interest in things does waver all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It fluctuates with, I don't know what really affects it. It's probably time of year, stuff like that. So like. So I really am at a bad time right now, because I've got so interested in skateboarding, the weather just isn't letting me do it. And so I have all this interest in doing that. It's stopping me from even opening my mind to like, well, I should spend the time that I can, because I know I can't do this. So instead of spending the time thinking about, I can't do that, I should find something else to do. And that's where the mold comes in. 'Cause I can construct something that still is in the realm of that world, and it's pretty interesting. But yeah, like I get into things, and again, like I'd like, that term like jack of all trades, like master of none.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, you
No,
know, obviously I'm
that's
no
a great
like
thing.
you know, whenever you come back to something, I'm essentially a newbie at it again, skating. But like, I'm not like I can ride the board. You know, at the skate park area, so I can like ride the ramps. I can't do anything crazy. I think I got my ollie back. It's still pretty inconsistent, but like, that's one of those things. That's why I spent $100 on a setup board, because I know I'm going to use it here and there, and you know, when the weather accommodates, I'll be using it. But if you're getting into making with like EVA foam, and that's why you're watching this, and you've stumbled across our other videos and you're watching this, and you've made it this far, like, yeah, just, I think we even said it there, like, don't watch someone like test it or like Evil Ted and be like, I need this, 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 and this, and I can't do it until I get all that stuff.
Yeah,
because what you'll do is you'll get all that stuff, and then you'll be like, oh, I actually don't like doing this. And then guess what the resale value of all that expensive shit is that you bought? It's like nothing. Like, you won't get anything.
Considering you can go to a yard sale and buy cases of hand tools.
Yeah.
For
honestly,
pennies on the dollar.
Serious.
And that statement right there, that's where you should go. Like, we're getting, you know, this podcast is turning into, you know, the whole toolkit podcast. Maybe that's what we'll do next.
Well, yeah, no, serious, because there is actually I forget his fucking name too. I apologize. I will find it. I'll text you. We'll put it up right here.
Yeah.
I was watching, you know, during this project, it also throws me down all kinds of other rabbit holes. So, from the discussion we just had, we decided to make our mold from wood.
Yep.
Wood that I paid $0
Absolutely
for.
nothing for it. It's exactly what we need.
It's, you know, load-bearing wood.
Mm-hmm.
It can hold a lot of weight. It's strong. But it's also very, like, malleable. It's got amazing properties that we work with, like, by hand.
That's a great thing about wood.
It's not a very dense, hard wood, you know, that like a bandsaw would struggle getting through. This is wood that's, like, easier for us to work with. That sent me down a rabbit hole. Again, apartment living, power.
We were talking about
nice. Okay, so yeah, what we're aiming to do here is, we were talking about, oh, well, we could borrow these tools here to, you know, do all this. Obviously, we're going to be doing the press with a car, which you may argue isn't by hand, but it's more by, like, it goes with it. It's a working man's skateboard.
It's an analog way of doing things. We need this amount of pressure. We could build an elaborate vacuum former contraption and sit here and hand form molds and stuff like that. Or we could cut something out that is hand precision out of a big rough piece of material and park a fucking car on it.
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole thing. How do we achieve this pressure? We could make a rig. How about we just park a car on it and call it a day?
Yeah. And it goes with, again, possibility for a brand name would be Roadkill.
Yeah, we want to trademark that whole Roadkill boards.
Will just be pictures of Roadkill.
Yeah,
like,
just pictures of cartoon animals getting hit by...
Even if it comes down to just being people, you know, like, one thing that I found way more of in the skate park was people like me. I was worried about running into this new era of, like, what is it now? Like, what are these people like now? Because obviously I was skating in joggers and shit, and back in the day I would have been in the baggiest jeans that you've ever seen. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, what am I walking into? And more often than not, it's guys either my age or much older out there who are just like, oh, well, I just got back into it because this is like, that's exactly what I'm doing. Like,
yeah, there's a whole generation of
just a love for it, and the guys that I'm bumping into again aren't like they used to be. Like, because when I was a kid, when I first started skating, it was all trick work. It was like, oh, I have to learn this, I have to do this, and now it's such a relief to skate, because when you first do anything, when you're any hobby when you're a kid, you're like, whether it's football or fucking baseball, whatever, you always have that thing in your back. I could go pro, right? But now, like, at my age and like doing it, it's like, it's just for fun. It's for no one but me. It benefits nobody. It barely benefits myself, other than it makes me happy.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know,
it keeps you a measure of healthy, and it makes you happy.
And it's the perfect way to be doing it. So it's much happier in that way. But with the boards, I keep going off on tangents. I wanna do it as much by hand as possible. I want to use a lot of the old tools that I showed some to you today. I think they're very promising. I think it adds something to it. I want to offer, people who are watching this and are interested in that. If you have like a concept or an idea or like a shape, or if you want to replicate something, like, because we're going to replicate the Back to the Future hoverboard to a rideable, high quality skateboard.
Yeah, there are a bunch out there that are made, and they're mainly for decoration. We're obviously going to do that kind of stuff, and make it so you can have some magnets in there, maybe display it. But the main focus of our want for that is to make a high quality skatable Back to the Future deck. Because
I'm sure so many people, like, I nearly did it. I nearly bought one of those replica metal plastic ones, and my first instinct would be, and the Resale guys already did a video where they put trucks on it, but it's plastics, it didn't hold too well. And I was just like, yeah, like, if I bought that, it would be about 10 minutes before I was like, I wish I could just ride this.
Yeah.
And so I want to give that shape and that feel to a rideable thing that you can actually, whether it's a cruiser and you're just going to go and ride down the street or something, or you're going to use it to get to work or something like that. Like, we toyed with the idea of doing like similar designs to the Back to the Future hoverboard, but we could like personalize it and do it a different color or like whatever. Obviously not with the Back to the Future label on it. I'm going to stop saying Back to the Future once this gets done, because that could be a problem. But yeah, I think it's a really cool thing. I'm not expecting to make money off of it really. Maybe make money to break even on it, because it'd be fun to do.
That's the nice thing about, again, having your life facilitate a passion instead of having that passion try to facilitate your life. Because people that get hung up on the I could be pro or I could, yes, you obviously can. And if you have the skill and have the passion and have the facility to do that, absolutely. I spent the last decade touring around the United States playing in a band. That was, I was trying to make it then. Now, as a 30-year-old dad, I still play music. I still keep my chops up and all those things.
So much more.
Yes, and it's so much more fulfilling. I get more out of going to an open mic night now and playing in front of 20 or 30 people who don't know who I am and never heard me play before. I get more out of that than stepping on a stage in front of 500 people that already know what to expect.
Yeah.
And then I already know what to expect from that giant crowd of people. It's an amazing rush, but I get more happiness out of it knowing that I can do this. I don't have to do this. I don't need to do this. I want to do this. Like that's and the whole skateboarding thing, when you're running into those guys that are just getting back into it in their late 20s and early 30s and everything, it brings it back. It brings it back to the whole reason that we make and the reason that we sit here and talk to a camera a couple times a week and make stuff and make helmets and make swords and skateboards and axes and all kinds of weird stuff. Is that we at some point in our life thought maybe we could do that as a job.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately fell out of that and was like, no, we got to focus on this. But now that we're at a point in our lives where our lives are facilitating the hobby, we can kind of get back into that. And the cool thing is we now have the reserve and the patience of older people, and we can really make a run at it. And actually from this point forward, we might be able to actually do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously one of our first podcasts was very optimistic, but a great idea that's still alive, more on a back burner, but still there, is the makerspace.
Yes.
And obviously, one thing I foresee with this idea of skateboards is, one, if the method works and it's successful, which I feel that it will be, we've put a lot of time thinking about it before actually doing it. So, I mean, that's always good. That's one problem when you have money, is you jump straight into doing it instead of having this time, a poor man's time to think about it and really work out some of the problems. Because if we would have done our first idea, we'd be doing a much harder way to make the wooden mold. I mean, as much easier as it is than concrete, it's still the original method of what we want to do was much more difficult than what we fall into now.
Exactly.
After seeing the material, lining up everything, it just is much an easier way. And I'm so glad we had that extra time to knock out those bad ideas.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thing. It sucks not having money because obviously that's what makes the world go around. But having time is much more. I guess as you get older, you find out the worth of your time.
Yeah.
And putting that time in is paramount to making something that you're proud of.
The time you spend thinking equals knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think that's a good place to...
And just to wrap up my thing about the makerspace, I feel like the skateboard mold, if it works the way we're on about, is one, it would make me happy to know that it could be one of those things that take on that Pinewood Derby type thing, where you and your dad or you and your son can create a mold from our design and do it at home and not give us any money.
Yeah,
right?
No, you can come to the makerspace and learn how to do this yourself.
And exactly, or we could do it in the makerspace, because like around here, fortunately, which is really cool, there's a lot of money going into public skate parks and stuff. You know, with the rise in that, you know, getting kids in and giving them these opportunities to have their board. Like, not going to a store and being like, I like that picture on there. Like, giving them the opportunity to be like, okay, what do you want it to look like? Here it is. Now what do you want it to have on it? Like we can put something on it for you, like, or it could just be a constant work in progress for them. I think that would be a really cool thing to do, like, community-wise, like, because that's what a makerspace should be. I feel like we should definitely be known in the community for, you know, giving kids or even adults getting back into it, giving them an option instead of going and spending all this money, giving them a peek into, like, you can do it like this.
Yeah, a peek into the production, and that's, you know, that's a perfect thing to. I mean, segue over, maybe that's the next podcast. But yeah, that's the end goal of all of this, is to sort of build a community around making and build a community around that, you know, I want this.
Yeah.
Okay. You can go out and buy that, or you can make it, and we'll show you how.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
And getting a skateboard from us, I just feel is way more impressive, because we are no master craftsmen, and I am no carpenter by any stretch of the imagination, ever.
No, this is all trial and error.
And if what we create becomes sturdy, then we can toy with some R&D on it, and be like, should we throw some fiberglass in here? And wonder how that would, like, prevent snapping or breaking, or maybe we, you know, go for some carbon fiber if people are interested.
I'd like to try composite boards and stuff like that.
Yeah, like, and mixing some different material and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just all around really cool for us, but it has potential to be not so much a money-making thing, but at least be something that we can get out to people and people can use or whatever.
Exactly. Well, that'll do us for not. That'll do it for Not Exactly Round this week. We're gonna get back on the ball and at least start putting out some more, at least some more podcasts, because people are starting to enjoy it. Again, I ran into those two people.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love it.
Yeah. If you're watching this again, thank you very much. That's pretty cool that we were stumbled upon in that way. But we're gonna get back on the ball here, and we'll see you on the internet soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Right.